Okay, parents, how many times have you looked at your child and thought they could possibly be a big star? Well, believe it or not, it is possible to get your child on the big screen, even if you don't live in Hollywood, New York, or Chicago. We met up with Lana Veenker, a casting agent who was in New York promoting her new film, Rid of Me. She has some tips on getting kids into showbiz.
Promise they're gonna like me?
I promise.
It's a black comedy about a woman who has to find herself, basically, after her husband leaves her for his ex.
Oh.
And so.
Familiar story there, right? Okay, so you're a casting director in Portland, Oregon, actually. And a lot of people might be saying, Portland, Oregon, you know, what shoots there? But actually a lot of things. You've worked on a lot of shows, haven't you?
It's really busy right now, and we've had some big projects over the years. I was one of the casting directors on Twilight a few years ago.
A human? The girl is with us. I think it best if you leave.
I worked on the first Twilight. You know, the one thing that was really fun about working on the first movie was working with Catherine Hardwicke, because she was so wonderful to all these teen actors. She's somebody who just really understands teenagers, and everyone just had a blast auditioning for her. It was just a lot of fun, and I got the opportunity to meet a lot of the cast and travel around a little bit with them and go to the premiere, and everyone is just really stellar. So I'm glad to see that it's been so successful, and really excited to see what happens with Breaking Dawn.
Lana also casts for the hit show Leverage, which is now in its fourth season on TNT. Leverage films in Portland, and Lana says there are now opportunities in showbiz all across the country. Most of our viewers don't live, of course, in Hollywood, but a lot of people want to know how to break into the biz, especially for kids. Can you give us some tips?
Well, I think especially if you don't live in a big city, it's really important, if you're seeking to get into acting, is to do your research, because in smaller cities, it's not as easy to find good acting coaches, good photographers, good talent agents, and there's a lot of scam operations out there. So I think one of the things that's really important is to do a lot of research and to try to network in the community of actors and people that work professionally in production before you go and spend any money.
What else should you do if you don't live in Hollywood?
I would say pretty much the same thing you would do as if you did live in Hollywood, is go out and get some really good training. And again, it goes back to doing your research first, but trying to find the best acting coaches that are available in the market that you live in. That might mean going to the next city over, if it's a little bit slightly bigger, but it's worth your time to really seek out a really good teacher or a really good school, rather than learn bad habits that you're going to have to unlearn later.
As a casting director, how important is getting experience?
Well, again, that's pretty critical. A lot of people try to jump the gun and start approaching talent agents and casting directors before they have any credits on their resumes, or they think, oh, I'll just get discovered. But that's not really how it works. Like, you really have to go out and get some solid training, and then try to get some experience just on your own before you start approaching the gatekeepers. So there's a ton of indie films being produced in markets all over the United States. With digital technology now, it's possible for indie filmmakers to make movies for dimes on the dollar. You could even make your own. You could get a video camera and post it up on YouTube and just try getting some experience that way. Going out to theaters in your area, trying to get some on stage experience, and trying to rack up a little reel for yourself of your experience before you start going out and trying to get more professional work, just getting yourself started. Well, once they're ready to start looking for more professional on-camera work, they're going to need to go out and get a headshot taken, which is a photograph, usually an 8x10 photograph of your head and shoulders, and put together a little resume of your experience. Once again, you're going to want to research the photographers. You don't want to go out and find a wedding photographer or a portrait photographer. It's very different. A headshot photography is very specific. So there might not be one, like I say, if you live in a really small town, there might not be an actual headshot photographer in your town. You might have to go to the next city over to find somebody good. And it should cost a few $100s. It shouldn't cost thousands of dollars. And I think that's where a lot of times kids and parents end up getting into trouble, is somebody approaches them in the mall and says, oh, I'm going to make you famous, and you show up at this thing thinking it's an audition, and it turns out to be a big sales pitch to sign up for expensive classes or headshot sessions. A few $100s for some nice photos, put together a resume, and then you've got your marketing materials. Okay. And then you can start approaching the gatekeepers.
Oh, she has great tips, doesn't she? Well, one of the most important things she says is don't jump the gun and immediately send your headshots and your resume to LA or New York. You want to get real credits in your region, and then if those casting directors like you, then they'll help you make the leap.
A lot of people, I think, are starting to realize that because they don't want to make the trip to LA or to New York. Just stay right there where you are, see how things go first. And I'm sure a lot of those casting directors in the regions know each other. They can help them out.
Oh,
right?
it's a very small business, so they definitely can help you out.
That's good.
And also, for even adults out there, these tips are good for everyone. So if you want to get your start in showbiz,